Hello, and welcome to this episode of Life from the Inside Out with Kris. If you're loving this metaphysical content, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and press the bell so you get notifications when Kris releases cool new metaphysical content. And also, feel free, put comments down below. This will help perhaps drive the discussion, and we look forward to hearing from you. Let's go ahead and begin. And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Life from the Inside Out with Kris. And last time we talked a little bit about some new ways of looking at the process of science, as well as some of the connections between dream time and our physical life. And so Kris is back here with us, and we've got a panel of people here with Kris and people that have working with Kris for a long time. And I think Kris is here with us, so let's jump in.
Indeed. And once again, we trust that you are comfortable and we thank you
Thanks,
for
Kris.
your consideration.
Thank you.
Now, we spoke last time about your most intimate, private daily planner and your storytelling abilities. It becomes even more considerable when you begin to notice that as you make these little plans, as you make the stories for yourselves for your days and weeks ahead, that for some unknown reason, apparently, the events and circumstances and conditions of your daily life seem to reflect the feeling tones, the emotions, and the activities from your imagination. So we have utilized this analogy before, and we will utilize it again because it is quite apropos. And again, it also ties into your intuitions. So say you have a thought in the morning that you have not seen my friend so-and-so for some time. You might think, I wonder how they're doing. Maybe it would be nice to give them a call. But right now, you are planning to go to the supermarket. You are in the supermarket, then you turn an aisle, and lo and behold, there is that very person you were thinking about. So, of course, you greet each other, and you might even say, hey, it's very funny, I was thinking about you this morning. And you might say, imagine I was also thinking about you. So most people would brush that off as a kind of coincidence. But there are others who know a little bit more. They recognize that when there are these kinds of impulses to pay attention, because it is very likely in the next day or so, that friend, that relative, that thing that you encountered in your mind, that situation, is on the horizon. So it is like an inner radar, letting you know something is afoot, and it is not necessarily Mr. Watson, but definitely something is coming your way. And that is also very significant because once you begin to play that groove, begin to notice it in your mind, then you will definitely see a ramping up of such intuitive encounters and intuitive events that make themselves known to you. And you might notice a marked difference between the regular flow of thoughts that go in and out of your mind on a daily basis and those particular kinds of impulses or impressions that seem to come from a different place. If you had to put some kind of location, you might think that the ordinary stream of ideas and notions that come in and out of your mind on a daily, continual basis, say, occur over here. But then this particular stream that is filled with little impulses, little intuitions, may come from over here on another side. We are just wanting to illustrate the point that you may detect that it reaches your particular consciousness and mind in a very specific way, distinct from just the ordinary humdrum of activities. So just paying attention and discerning that can also alert you to those kinds of events and engage them that much more. And that can also bring a certain kind of peace of mind, knowing that you have some exciting adventures to look forward to during the day. Does that make some sense to you?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
The world of intuition is not random and haphazard, as many people might like to think. It is actually very much measured. Specifically, when you start focusing on that, and more of it comes your way. The old adage of you get what you concentrate upon. So the more you concentrate on intuitive events and situations, the more they seem to crop up in your life. Now, we are not suggesting that, of course, you will be bulldozed with them, but they will put your life in a different kind of context, in a different frame of experience. And it might reassure you that life is not a series of haphazard, disconnected events just thrown at you, but that instead it follows the particular mindset that you establish. So along the same lines, for instance, the more you recognize that your own personal issues no longer need to be projected outwardly where you keep encountering difficulties, but instead you are in the process of healing whatever traumas you might hold onto, then you begin to recognize that your daily events are somehow or other a better reflection of the peace of mind that you are holding on from within you. And that too is significant. And it will never escape you in the sense that you might never think again, oh, this is just a strange coincidence. Of course, it cannot happen twice. And after a few dozen times, you will certainly be convinced it is not haphazard. It is metered out in a very specific way. That is why, in a small way, that is why you take life in this particular plane of existence, because you want to test yourselves to your limits. Regardless of what you may think on one level, you like challenges. Otherwise, you would not have come into this plane of existence. You like to push boundaries. You are explorers. You are adventurers. And the more you tune into that, become the adventurers and the explorers of how much more life can you give yourself, then you will begin to experience that. Does that make some sense to you? What do you say, Barbara?
Absolutely, Kris. I was just thinking actually about it, and
Why do
I
you think we said, what do you think, Barbara?
he's spying. Yes, I was actually thinking about it because on my daily bicycle rides, I have those thoughts coming from left and right, And lo and behold, later on, I do experience certain difficulties. And I was thinking to myself, oh, yeah, I was thinking I'm going to have a difficulty in that way. So, yes, yeah, I understand. But now I want to find ways of kind of helping myself to those difficulties in a different way. So when I recognize the thought coming in, that is my internal drama, as you would say, and instead of projecting, I stop and go within to move out. If that makes sense.
Indeed, it
In a different
does.
way.
And very particularly because, first of all, one cannot necessarily bring about a change or a solution to the challenge by utilizing the challenge itself in that respect. You cannot fix the problem with the problem. You have to get out of that frame of mind and into another one, into a different modality, if you like, a different mode of experience. So, for instance, most people keep worrying about one, two, three, four, five, six things all the time, as if somehow or other they are juggling all of these worries all at once and still find no rest, no respite, and no solution. Because, of course, worrying about a thing does not bring any solution. Never has, never will. Your entire human race is an example of that. However, if you switch the frame of mind into one that is open to solutions, is open to healing traumas, is open to end projection, and instead create a new experience, then your mind begins to gravitate towards that, and it begins to literally draw in or create those kinds. And there is not any particular kind of magic or incantation for this, but just the way we described it. Literally, allow your mind and suggest to your mind that you need a different frame of experience, one that is open to solutions, one that is open to ending trauma, thus healing, one that is open to better communication and better experience. And that is often sufficient in itself to get you out of that one mode and into the one you are wanting to focus on. Just a very, very simple process. So, for instance, when it is very, very hot, do you just bemoan the fact that it is hot, it is sweaty, I am so hot, and the more you think it is hot, what happens?
More uncomfortable.
You just get too hot. Indeed. So, say, yes, you are very hot, so I will go and get a popsicle. I will go and get ice cream. I will go and get a cool drink. I will go outside where it is possibly cooler, or I will get a fan. Any of these switches your mind away from the heat, and lo and behold, in a short amount of time, you are much more comfortable because you have taken your mind away from the heat. Just a very, very simple little process that can show your mind, hey, if you only stop thinking about how hot it is and instead go get something cool, then we will be cool. Cool? It's very, very simple. It does not require a PhD to understand this particular thing. It is about suggestibility, storytelling, daily planning. The more you tell the story of how hot it is, well, guess what? It is so hot now, it is unlivable. So we have to change the story. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I think that is the part of being aware of the consciousness, the practicing of it, so that if I am thinking, excuse me, about something that isn't appealing to me, I just have to make a different story and things start to shift.
Stories are aplenty. You engage in stories literally around the clock. Even when you are sleeping, your mind is engaged in other kinds of stories in dream time. So it is not that stories are lacking. You simply can suggest a different story. The mind is open to suggestions. Why do you think marketing and commercials are so effective? Because you are all very susceptible to suggestion. You are suggestible. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
I was thinking, Kris, that the tarot cards work this way too. You're creating a story, and the story is telling you its story, and you're telling the cards your story, and you're learning through them, and then it triggers your intuitions. I didn't say that very
Indeed.
well, but
We understand, and you might find that the person that is having their tarot cards read, you will notice they are highly suggestible.
oh yes.
So much so that fraudsters take advantage of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of charlatans out there. You do have to
Indeed.
be careful, but there's a lot of power there in the reading
Indeed,
of cards.
and it is called the power of suggestion for a very specific reason. In fact, were it not for that, your lives would be rather humdrum. In fact, would you even have a life? Would you even be? So therefore, we posit to you this very thing. Being is your most powerful suggestion. Does that make some sense to you? You are because you have suggested that to yourselves. In other words, you are because you believe. Suggestibility is just another word for belief. Does that make sense?
A lot of sense.
So tarot cards or other systems of divination can have a tremendous impact. In fact, in ancient times, kings and rulers and queens would hardly make a move without their divinators. And that divinator better have a good divination for the king when he wants to go to war.
Yeah, it can be dangerous.
Otherwise, it might be off with their heads. It is a most interesting and understudied, underappreciated aspect of human existence, of human experience. Suggestibility, the power to be. So this is tied into the power of storytelling. The more you investigate storytelling and the kinds of stories you want to tell with your life, because that is how you produce your lives, through your stories. So you are, in effect, all Shakespeare's in your own rights. Your lives can have as much impact as you allow. Your lives are only as extraordinary as you allow. So by all means, be as extraordinary as you can be. Even if all you do is go from home to work, you have an influence. You have that influence on others. So be the focal point of your own extraordinariness. and let that flow out. And with that, we will return Joseph to your lovely selves. And very nice of you to join, KP.
Oh, KP came too.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much.
And with that, we return Joseph to you.
Thank you, Kris.
Thanks, Kris.
Thanks, Kris.
Oh,
Thank you,
thanks, Chris.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.